The Proteas have announced their 11 for the World Test Championship final, and a lot of people I would have expected this particular 11. And so we're going to be discussing that on today's show. There are a couple of players that they've omitted, and we might have wanted to see some of them in this team, but they are not available. But what's nice about it is we get to see this young, fresh team take on the might of Australia, and I think that's going to be very exciting to see how they can handle the pressure. We heard that some of these players are like mentality monsters, etc. So I want to see if they actually can live up to that and what they know and what we know them to be. I hope that they can perform like they perform in domestic cricket, some of these guys. So we're going to be discussing some of the press conference. The first thing we're going to do is cross over to James King in London. He's currently there in England covering this event for us and giving us fan experience and behind the scenes. So we're going to cross over to him and get his insights into how he's feeling and what he's doing and how the experience has been so far for him. And then after that, we will bring on a couple of guests to discuss the 11 and get their thoughts on that. And if we have some extra time, I might be going through some of the things that were said by Temba Bavuma, but I'm going to get James, because he was in the press conference, to give us his thoughts on that. But before we get going, before we get started, everybody, there's a couple of things I'd like you guys to please do. First and foremost, subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell for all future videos. Smash the like button, please, as well as comment and share. That's how we get into the YouTube algorithm. So please do that for me. It really helps us spread the word. So please like, comment, and share. But I'd also like you guys to please download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. The link is on the screen right now, as well as in the description. So without further ado, everybody, I hope you guys are going to enjoy this one. But let's get straight into today's video. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your live cricket show. I'm your host, Khalid Moeddin, and this is the show where we're going to be discussing the Proteas 11 that was announced today in the Temba Bavuma press conference at Lord's, or in England, ahead of the World Test Championship final, which we are all so excited about as South Africans. So we're going to discuss that team a little bit later, but first and foremost, I'm just going to cross over to James in London itself. Welcome to the show, brother James. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you, Khalid, and yourself.
I'm really, really good. Really excited for the day's play, for the game to start, all of that to happen. I mean, what has the experience been like for you so far? Being in England, I mean, mixing around with the other journos, with some of the players. Perhaps you probably spoke to some of the players off the record as
Yeah,
well. Maybe you don't have to hear those insights, but what the experience has been like for you over there.
yeah. I mean, it's been fantastic so far, and they're really just been wonderful to be covering this event for Cricket Fanatics magazine. It's, as you say, a lot of interaction with the journalists from South Africa that are over here. So a good number of South African journalists over here as well. Probably about 10 or 11 of us that are here from South Africa covering the match, and had an opportunity yesterday at the Hall of Fame event, which was, again, a wonderful experience to meet a couple of other journalists, Lawrence Booth from Wisden and the Daily Mail, who had a long chat with him. It was really good. So getting to meet up with a couple of guys, and also to re-establish relationships and meet people that I saw a couple of years ago in Cape Town for the T20 Women's World Cup, which has been really good. But it's the vibe here is just absolutely incredible. I hope you can hear me okay. I am outside between the Rachel Hayhoe Flint gate and the Grace Gate, just with a bit of a backdrop I thought I'd give you in the background.
Hmm.
So
Nice.
but it's been fantastic so far.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, your thoughts about the press conference? Anything that stood out to you, and maybe you can give us some insight into some of the conversations you had with some of the journos heading into this match. How are they feeling? Are they also maybe positive about this after Shukri, Conrad's, Presser, and Timbas?
You know, I think, Khaled, as you said earlier on, I don't think that the 11 is that much of a surprise. We were certainly a lot of us expecting that this would be the 11. May not have been the 11 that every single one of the journos would have chosen. I think Dane Patterson, particularly with his knowledge of the UK conditions, I think he probably would have been maybe disappointed to miss out. But you know how good a team man Dane is. So, he's going to be supporting the team all the way. Certainly the Lungi and Gidi, a little bit of I think there's a feeling perhaps here that, he hasn't played Test match cricket. He hasn't really played any 4-day cricket either since he was injured in the West Indies. So it's that's a little bit of a left field selection, but we did expect that was coming. Because Lungi is playing, then certainly we do also expect Björn Mulder to be playing and for him to be coming at 3. So Shukri's gone with a very strong batting lineup, which is what we expected. And I think South Africa bat all the way down. I mean, even beyond 8, but certainly up to Marco Jansen at 8. We have a very strong batting lineup. Björn Mulder at 3 is a little bit of a question mark, but I think the same can be said of the Australian lineup as well. That they have. But so South Africa's team, 4 seamers that they've gone in with, and Keshav Maharaj as the spinner. So I think if there is any doubt about Lungi Ngidi's fitness, then his ability to bowl through sort of 20 overs in an innings, you do have the backup with Björn Mulder. Shukri said yesterday that was sort of the common feeling amongst the journos here is that in the South African camp between Temba and Shukri, what they were saying, that they believe Björn can do the job that Dane Patterson does, which is very much keeping it tight and bowling at the medium paces.
Yeah, so because Dane Patterson was, but I'm going to discuss that with some of the other guys a little bit later, the actual 11. Is there any insight you can give to us about like Lords itself? What is that experience like? What was that Hall of Fame event like? I mean, what are you doing in your spare time? Things like that.
I don't.
Oh no, so he's a little bit stuck there, guys.
Talking to some of the players as well, as you say, just chatting. Had a chance to talk a little bit to David Beddingham, Tony Dazorzi when they were in Arundel as well, and they're all really looking forward to this. It's just such an amazing occasion, and I think it's been good they've been here the last 3 days. Maybe just getting that initial, as I had, excitement out of your system. It is an amazing ground, and it is the home of cricket, but it is just in pristine condition. The ground is in absolutely beautiful condition. The outfield is like a carpet. The pitch does look like it's potentially going to be a good batting wicket, but you can never fully say that. It is certainly not as green as maybe some would have expected, and by tomorrow it may even be playing, or may even be less green than it is today. So but just the whole experience is just walking in for the first time to Lords. Just the sense of history, Khalid, is absolutely incredible. There is, you hear about the nursery end, you hear about the nursery ground at the back, and when you come in and you see it, it's quite a bit smaller than you see. When you see it on television, it looks a lot bigger, but it's actually quite a small area that they practice on. But the hospitality areas that are being set up are quite incredible. The amount of work going in to get everything set up here, the sort of the tea gardens or whatever you might want to call it that are being set up. Just the history around the place is amazing. The stadium itself is even inside, the seating, it just is in pristine condition, and you just get a sense of how important this ground is to England cricket, to just cricket in general. The home of cricket, it is been maintained, and it really is an outstanding venue to be at.
James, thanks a lot for giving me some insight into that. Guys, please go read his fan experience blogs that are on cricketfanaticsmag.com. He's giving us some amazing insight there into the experience and what it feels like. He'll be doing this obviously from the ground for each day of play as well, to give you guys an insight into what it's like to be a fan at an event like this. I mean, at that stadium covering the game. So, James, thanks a lot. I hope you enjoy your dinner
Yeah,
tonight. And you
thank
can let
you.
us know what you actually had tomorrow. You can tell us about yesterday's experience. I will be really interested
Yeah,
to know.
I can do. Yeah, we're going to an Indian restaurant tonight. I think
Oh,
with
okay.
Cricket South Africa. It's going to be Poletsi Moseki is going to be there. Refense Shinners. Yesterday evening was, as I say, at the ICC Hall of Fame function was absolutely incredible. I got the chance afterwards to chat to Hashim Amla and to Graham Smith. About five of us there, just chatting to them, and very much
Mm, okay. So yeah, it's a bit stuck there. Um, James is cutting out. But we got a nice insight
Hashim
from.
was very much how Hashim.
Oops. Yeah, I think he's having some technical issues. James, yeah, you were just having some technical issues. You saying something about Hashim? Yeah, I don't think we can hear him. Okay, so I'm going to say, James, thanks a lot for coming on. We got cut off over there, but we'll get him again tomorrow. So, James, we'll say bye to you. I think you're having some technical issues.
I think I might have lost you
Yeah,
there with my connection,
yeah,
Khalid. So
yeah. So we'll say
sorry, I
bye
lost.
to you and
Yeah,
talk to you again tomorrow.
yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll be sending you some insights.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay, guys, let's continue. Continue. That was a bit rude, but sorry, James will understand. I'm sure James will understand. Okay, let's continue with the show because we got some guests over here that have been on this channel before. I've missed their opinions. I've missed their thoughts on the game. So we're going to be bringing them on right now to discuss this team because obviously we know that the team has been announced. So we've got Abai with us. We've got Hano with us. Welcome to the show, guys. Really, really missed you guys. Haven't chatted to you for a very long time. It's good to see you all here. I'm gonna have to move it because the chat's gonna go onto Hano's face there. So I'm just going to have to move it to this way, this format. Welcome to the show, guys. Let me first start first and foremost because you guys didn't get the opportunity to obviously talk on the preview show yesterday. So I want to get your insights and how you are feeling ahead of this game. So I'm going to start with Abai, and then Ano can also give his thoughts too. So Abai, take it away.
Yeah, so first of all, good afternoon, good evening. It's so nice to catch up. It's been too long, Khalid and Hano. It's but yeah, it's great to have a chance to say hi and discuss the big game. Uh, so both teams, they've obviously announced their playing 11s already. Um, Initially, it kind of felt that Dane Patterson stood a chance of making it, but I think yeah, Temba Bavuma, he had a logical explanation as to why Lungi and Gidi got chosen, and now there are five bowling options, right? So uh, three main pacers and KJ Rabada, Marco Janssen, Lungi and Gidi, another backup medium pacer and Beyond Mulder, and he's going to bat at number three. So there's been a lot of shifting going on. Um, I feel like Mulder at number three is a bit of a left field decision, but if it works out, just imagine having an all-rounder uh, batting in the top four. That would be something really amazing.
Hano, you've seen this team, the lineup. I mean, we were bold enough to obviously release it before the day, and Australia followed suit. And so what's your thoughts on this 11? I mean, would you have made any different changes or any other selections that are maybe a little bit different? And also, how are you feeling ahead of this final as a South African fan?
Oh, thank you very much. I believe um, from, let's say, from a long-suffering Protea fan, one dares to dream. Uh, it's the weight of expectations against the underdog tag for a change. And I'd just like to mention, in the history of Test cricket, I think it's very fitting that the statistical two most successful teams since the 1800s is finally clashing in a battle to decide, a one-off between who is going to carry the first test match between which rightly should have been the final a long time ago, for a lack of practicalities on the 5-day format. So from a table setting perspective, you couldn't ask for a better result. To have this at Lords as well. One might even say the Lord's verdict awaits, tongue in cheek, of course. And I'd just like to say, I think the underdog tags really fit us. I think that's maybe just what we need. I agree with Abai on the left field decisions, but it's not just on our side where that has happened. I mean, it looks like the Australians have been shuffling their deck as well. I mean, Marnus at opener is very interesting, considering that both teams have loaded the attacks with seamers. Yes, of course, we don't have Dane Patterson, but yes, we do have Jan Bonner at number 3. So let's call him the Joker in the pack, and let's see who's got the last laugh. I'm going to take a huge gamble and put myself out there, and I believe most South Africans who are true South African and cricket Protea fans will get themselves up for this match. I like the fact that we are an underdog, and history tells us our track record at Lords, and whenever we are tagged as underdogs, things are not so much in the favor of us having an empty trophy cabinet. Thank you.
Yeah, so we have Australia's team has been announced, like Hanno said. So I didn't read out the teams for you guys today quite yet. So we've got Markram, Rickleton, Mulder, Pavuma, Stubbs, Beringham, Verena, Janssen, Maharaj, Rabada, and Ngidi. And then Australia's 11 is Kawaja, Labuskaghni, I'm going to say, not Labuschagne, Green, Smith, Head, Webster, Carey, Cummins, Stark, Lyon, and Hazelwood. So there was also a toss-up between Hazelwood and Borland, who they were going to go with over there. Labuskaghni as well was a big call to open because he's not batting in a position that he's generally known for. And over the last couple of years or so, he's been in and out of the test team, not really cementing his side over there, his position in that team. So they're also taking a couple of gambles into this match. It's not straight cut either. So that is something that we need to take into consideration when it comes to this to the Australia team. I mean, I think our chances are great to be in this match because the unknown factor. There's an unknown factor to certain batters, and I think the first session is always going to be very important, especially in this weather in Lords at Lords. The Duke's ball does swing around a bit. We heard Coach Shukri say it in his press conference. They're waiting for the shine to just go off the ball a bit. When it's a little bit older, then it does get a little bit slower on that pitch after about 10 overs or so. So we need to bowl really smartly. And Lungingiri is going to be key because when he's fit, he's amazing. But over the last couple of years, he hasn't always been 100% fit. So I'm just crossing fingers here that over the last couple of months, he's gotten his fitness up, because it only takes a few months or so for you to really go all out in training and get yourself physically fit. And I think the physically fit side is going to be important. But that rhythm, because he's a type of bowler that relies on that certain lines and lengths, consistency, and trying to, of course, trap bowlers or catch them out, and in ways that maybe not a KG won't do or a Marco will do. Marco and KG will rely more on swing, whereas Lungingiri will obviously focus more on his lines and lengths. So when it comes to that bowling attack, Abai, were you more of a fan of maybe having someone like a Dane Patterson in the side because of his experience now in England, having played county cricket, etc., and been understanding the conditions at Lords? Or are you happy with this bowling attack at the moment? Do you think they can surprise the Australian batting lineup, as experienced as it is?
Yeah, so yeah, I was initially pro Dane Patterson. I wanted him in the 11, but I can qualify what's the selection that's been done. Like there's a solid set of reasoning to back up why Lungi Ngidi got chosen because he presents something a little bit different compared to KG and Marco, as you mentioned. I mean, now that we mentioned county cricket, the Aussies are very well prepared. I mean, if you take Cam Green, for example, he spent a long time on the sidelines. Then he signs up for Gloucestershire, and he hits 3 centuries in 5 games. And I think the Aussie coach, Andrew McDonald, was like, in this kind of form, there's no way he's not going to be in the 11. And because they have this headache, somebody had to make way, or someone had to like make a compromise. That's how Morris is now an opening batter, even though he's normally the number 3 in the 11. So yeah, like in order to accommodate like all the informed guys, it became a bit of a logjam for the Aussies. And I think yeah, I think heading into this game, it's two very different sides taking each other on. Like the Aussies, they have all their experienced guys. This is likely their last chance to add one more trophy into their trophy cabinet, while the Proteas are more of a mix between some experienced guys and some new guys who are raring to go make a mark, and they've all enjoyed a lot of success leading up to this point. So, but going back to your initial question, I think when it comes to the bowling attack, I'm happy with the decision that's been made. Felt a little bit bad for Dane Patterson, especially after looking at rumors that he's likely going to bring his Proteas career to a stop after this game. I mean, it's just a rumor; it's not confirmed. But he's 36, and if we look at the squad that's been announced for the 2 games against Zimbabwe, there's a lot of new young guys in there. So, and that's likely the path that Shukri Conrad's going to take going forward into the next WTC.
Yeah. And I know I want to ask you something because it was another controversial decision. The selection of having someone like Vian Mulder at 3. I know he adds a lot with the ball, but I mean, there's a guy like Tony Rizorzi that is known to be a number 3 for Western Province. So he's been playing there a long time, and he's more familiar actually with that role than he is as an opener, even though he opened majority of the times for South Africa in the Test arena. What is your thoughts on that? Because I mean, we know that Vian batted at 3 when he was a kid at St. Stithians and for Kai Majolo weeks for Gauteng. He batted at 3 actually. He was actually seen as a batter first and a batting all-rounder more than a bowling all-rounder. It was Otis Gibson that actually identified his technique and thought that his technique was interesting and then started selecting him as a bowler. And then he started like dipping with the bat. But when he goes back to the Lions, he normally bats in 5-4 position, roundabout up the order. They try to push him as high as possible. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, thank you. Certainly a very big surprise. Certainly our most unlikely number 3 that has ever been selected to play at Lords. I don't think there's been such a big batting selection surprise for the Proteas since Andrew Hall was called in on last minute when I think it was Herschel Gibbs who got injured in the early 2000s. And thankfully, Andrew Hall scored a century in India. I think it was 163. And yes, nobody saw that coming on the selection and on the result. Now, I'm not suggesting the same can happen, but my understanding is when I saw that Stuart Broad has been brought in as a bowling consultant for this WTC final, just spare a moment, I nearly fell off my chair when I saw a Proteas badge on Stuart Broad.
Strange, isn't it?
It's like really thinking, yeah, it's time to go for that Alzheimer's test. But a long story short is this is actually, it could be a master move. I don't think Vian at number 3 was the predominant thought process in him getting to be at 3. It's almost like perhaps an inspired selection, the way that IPL has reshaped the mentality around certain strategies when it comes to batting or when it comes to bowling. Whether that's suitable for Test cricket, I doubt it is. I'm hoping it's going to be a master move, but likely not going to be successful. However, the style of Vian's bowling, we all are very familiar, the way that he can seam the ball. And I'm thinking with the experience and the direction and guidance of Stuart Broad, we may just have placed ourselves in the best position to get 20 wickets versus the strong batting lineup and of course the favourable batting pitch which we are expecting at Lords. I am of a strong opinion that the Australians, as experienced as they are virtually doing themselves an injustice by selecting Marnus at opener, where we know Marnus is very susceptible, especially on lively pitches during the early stages of his innings. Look, you only have to go back in history to see Marnus's performance at Lords. Whenever there's a new ball, there's how commendable he is in his courage and his fortitude and his powers of concentration. That is the time when you can strike through. So there is an inconsistent history of selection at openers for Australia of late. I believe also some of them are selected more, for sentimental value because this is a huge occasion. And I believe the liveliness that we have in our five seamers, it might just be proven to be a masterstroke. But given if I was the selector, I would have chosen Tony de Zorzi, and I damn well hope that Vian proves me wrong.
Oh, we all hope so, crossing fingers. And that he can actually play a role with the ball, because we know that he's more of a consistent type of bowler, consistent under links. That's something that he's been working on a hell of a lot. He doesn't have too many variations to the ball, with the ball, and he doesn't really move the ball around. So, yeah, bye.
I was going to say, just imagine like having a seam bowling all-rounder batting in the top of your order. I mean, off the top of my head, Shane Watson used to open the batting for Australia. And now they have Cam Green batting at number 3. I know he's unable to bowl, but when he's fully fit enough to bowl, just imagine the luxury the Aussies will have. Just like that, if you were to think along the similar lines for the Proteas, I mean, I know there's a lot of uncertainty with this move, but I still feel like glass half full. Like if this comes off, imagine like the long-term upside.
And I'm sure there'll be an adaptability to this team, though. Like, I mean, I'm sure Coach Shukri will maybe switch things. It's not set in stone that 11, I feel, in the lineup. He could change things if he feels, Vian maybe won't be able to go out there and play against that new ball, or the ball's moving around too much. Maybe let's not put Vian into that fire. Let's rather move maybe Temba up to 3 or Tristan up to 3 to consolidate and slow things down. So that's also an option on the cards over there. So, yeah. What do you guys think about that? I mean, anybody can go.
I know you can go first.
Well, for starters, I just hope that Temba presses not the snooze button when the alarm goes off so that he arrives on time. When he does that, he normally tends to perform. I'm saying that tongue-in-cheek again, but look, it sounds to me, it looks to me that Temba is a very intelligent player. Sometimes so intelligent that certain aspects of, the match day procession may start to bore him. So he has focus periods, which I see he does switch on and off. When time comes down to him going to the crease, if it's a lively pitch, I know normally he is playing better when it is a challenging pitch as opposed to just a road. And whenever any Test batsman walks out onto Lords, normally they are always switched on and they bring their best. Certainly in our history, that's the case. I'd like to think that because this is a once-off Test match, normally when it comes to the Australians coming, to England and playing with the Duke, they have the luxury of a few warm-up matches with that ball. And I can't stress enough the difference that the Kookaburra and the Duke ball has, especially if you need to make a quick adaptation. And in red ball cricket, this might just be a huge advantage for South Africa, because we do have also a lot of experience with, playing around with a Duke or a hybrid thereof. And our players, some of them have got their teeth properly, like Bedingham. I almost said Bedingfield, but they really have got their teeth when it comes down to county cricket. Again, with Stuart Broad's, shall we say, bowling whispering in the ears of our youngsters, hey, I believe there will be magic.
Very interesting when I saw those pictures. Abai, big match for Temba Bavuma. As a captain, he represents a lot of things in this country.
Mm-hmm.
If South Africa can get a victory in this, it will be more than just a win as a sporting code. It will mean a lot more than that for the people of South Africa, and for the survival of cricket in South Africa, because it isn't as supported as we would like. That's something that's a fact at the moment, and particularly the longer formats, because we know we can sell out T20 games and SA20 games and stuff like that, but I think a lot of people go to those games for other things other than cricket. Exactly. So with regards to test cricket and the liveliness to keep the game alive, red ball cricket alive in this country, this is going to be such an important test and an historic test if we can get a victory over Australia.
You could draw a comparison to like in India in 1983. Don't get me wrong, cricket was starting to gain some ground in India, but it was only after that World Cup when it became such a, when India became a lot more cricket crazy. So I think this kind of watershed thing could happen, if the Proteas win this big game. And as for Temba Bavuma, what a tournament he's had. Like average of 60, 2 tons, 4 half centuries. Um, I think the only thing that slightly disappoints me is the fact that he wasn't able to get a county stint. I feel like he could have benefited a little bit, because some of the guys from both teams managed to secure a short stint to get accustomed to conditions. But he's got the good form leading into it, so I don't think I should complain about that too much. But yeah, I think it would be very iconic to see Temba Bavuma, on the large balcony hoisting the trophy. It would be a victory in so many different ways. Like he's faced all sorts of more than just criticism. There's been a lot of hate along as his career went on, and it's in the last couple of years when he's really started to pick up form in his favorite format. And when he finally took charge of this side, he just went from strength to strength. So I think I'm hoping to see a big contribution from the South African captain. At least hopefully a few centuries from a few players. Like I want to see a proper team at the end of the day.
Yeah, so obviously we know the thing that's going to be probably most important in this match, given the way these teams are set up, is probably the toss.
Mm-hmm.
So win the toss, Hano. Bat or bowl first, and then the same question to Abai.
Yeah, well, the old adage, if you win the toss and you're thinking about batting, you still have to bat. I know we tried to go against that grain not so long ago, and again it was proven. If you are in doubt whether you need to bat or bowl, then always bat. And if you are in any doubt of winning a toss and what to do, please just write down the word bat and read it out loud before you start to think too much.
Yeah.
With Lords, even more so. Look, it's plain to see this selection from both sides was engineered specifically to garner 20 wickets. So, we all know you don't win test matches by scoring hundreds. You win test matches by taking 20 wickets. It's very important, very simple. And even for old players and those who've been long in the game, sometimes they need to be reminded about that, the back to the basics. Look, I'm really cautiously optimistic when it comes down to this once-off showdown. I really think when we can embrace the underdog tags like we did, famously, as when we started to turn around our rugby team's fortunes after being written off in the 2018 before we started our winning streak, we can really garner from a lot of those past incidents in our cricket team's history as well. For some reason in our DNA, we really step up when people are, tagging us as underdogs. And maybe that's just what we need. So embrace the underdog tags. Let that translate into pressure, because that type of pressure the Australians are feeling normally just by playing, for Australia as the number one sport in the country. Um, it's going to tell, because we do not have anything to lose. We do, however, have our like you know uh, you have been mentioning that it's really important for our survival in red ball cricket. Yes, that is true. However, in terms of just the team's history and the psychology of it, each and every player individually and as a collective, we only have something to win. We don't have much to lose. So that is the perfect setting for us to go and give a recognition of who we are as South Africans, get a bit of our mongrel back, which I felt wasn't really at display during the last couple of seasons. We do have it in ourselves, and history tells us this is the time. There won't really be another opportunity quite like this if
Hmm.
we don't make the most of it.
I mean, I feel like this
Bye.
is an uncomfortable truth for some, but you know, like right around the time when the World Test Championship schedule came out, like all teams got to see like who they're playing, who they're hosting, who they're visiting. People were already saying, if the Proteas are unable to make the final this time around, it's going to be extremely difficult, if not impossible, the next time around. So at least that part of that vindication has already happened. And to add to what Hanno said, like I know some of these guys tend to falter under pressure. I mean, don't we all at times? But uh, it's best to focus on the controllables. Don't worry about end results. Don't worry about what people from the other team are going to do. I mean, I saw this in the Australia versus India Test series. I mean, India they did get a little too antsy at times when like a session didn't go accordingly, and
Mm.
their plans were kind of all over the place. But it's a long game. Good things come to those who wait, and you have to establish a plan and stick to that. I mean, you can't let a few like a successful session for the other team, mess with your focus. I mean, this is how like Travis Head, for example, he was able to cash in and play a bunch of impactful knocks during that same series. And we got to remind ourselves, like Travis Head, even though he's a danger man, he is another human being, and as human beings, we are all bound to make mistakes. So sometimes it's like playing chess. Like you have to stick to your plan, and you have to stay patient. One of us will crack under pressure, and I think that's probably the best way to go about.
Yeah. And I think that is the perfect way to end the show. Hano and Abai, thank you a lot for coming on the show. You guys know that you can just DM me at any point if you want to join in on the review shows. We'll go live
Mhm.
directly after the day's play, about 30 minutes after the day's play. We will go live with our review show. So just drop me a message if you ever want to call in and have your say about what's been going down.
Yeah, certainly.
Everybody out there, yeah, everybody out there, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to smash that like button, comment, share, subscribe, and click that notification bell for all future videos. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow with another review show. Get excited, guys! It's a massive game, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with our review after the day's play. Peace out, everyone.
All right, have a good